His beak a long curve like his descent into depression. Unique among birds sliced in the jet engine. Free as culture to paint within capitalism. Seagulls and the rains pitter-patter indifferent. His love of truth abnormal as the socialist. In rubber boots consorting with the homeless. If 50% of skylarks are on welfare, then kiss me friend as fireworks fill the air. Western speech as the tongue English tinged. The smell of weed as the skunk stings the wind. The black poet rebelling against irony. The camera phone upheld as the hierarchy. These demons deferring life's betterment. Reading meaning in the bird's white excrement. Listen, I'm human as the bluebird, whistling in cahoots with the universe of my struggle as the white Norwegians. To rhymes that fumble with the trite, that's where the meaning is. Indifferent as death to left politics. Those idiots would represent Kanye West if 2% of the population caught the bug. Would you forget it or watch as they fall in love and rise as the Nazis hand saluting the sky and the lofty owls hooting? A formal tribute to workers and readers, and the war to redistribute the bird feeders. Believe it, I'm with you in words and in deeds, sir. No matter the number we currently were, the hawk descends her rage an open letter. The gaudy red display a show of feathers. The author dead, his pages thrown together. It's not meant to convey the poet's effort. The hawk descends her rage an open letter. The hawk descends her rage an open letter. The hawk descends her rage. The hawk descends her rage an open letter. As the classic Buddenbrooks goes unread, he establishes his foothold with a text. The spot encircled this little known rest. Controversial, the book thrown at his head. The poet, a birder, good and correct. The wood you peck, a total head disturber. The vocal hex reverser, breathing God's green crack with a local sex worker. These metamorphoses of form in his poetry. More gauche beliefs, more goat cheese. This passerine work for the bird watchers. The Oiseau text in inverted commas. The one sole intent on serving God first. Struggling with death in the dirty waters. His science, the dinosaur's heritage. Inspiring a flying form to carry it. These rhymes of a cyborg repairing his design under the eyes in your very head. Propaganda, the black and white spider, so different from the Malachite messiahs. In green, the enchantress reclined on her brake. Her freedom, the advantage you tried to take. Ignoring her words and inferring consent. Imploring the worker to work in the web. This freshly transmographied songbird escapes as you apologize, dishonored.
Watching the sky in the Lapland long spur just so happens to drop a turd onto the top of your carbon, then fly onward. When I write, I spawn birds. The eagles are looking like lowercase m's, and the people are looking like no-face sims. Especially the ornithologists, reborn apologists, rise like an Archaeopteryx. Rappers are fighting to see who the strongest is, like baby shoe bills. OD on blue pills, looking like a floaty from Whoville. Groove to your Bruce Bill, circle in the sky for a new mill. Drop a turtle on this guy and get 2 kills. I'm too ill. You will be going through a psychogenic fugue when you tune in. The truth is gonna be revealed by Jouquin immune, and I'm madder than a wet origami crane. Trey's frying up a cosmic egg. You are no true boy, the dove, looking like a chew toy above, mauling the face off it to my day. Motherfucker, this album is flyer than a goddamn jungle. Red Bull, Castro, weaving an African citro. Borosaurus soaring high as cholesterol. Told my cousin about the Oiseau textual. Poetic at a flow, yellow throat of a vetter mode. Help release excess heat like the skin on the neck and waddle. Swift as a swift of cliff swallow, varios and dotterals. Spitting petrol about a giant petrol. Chewing on the fossil, a quetzalcoatl. It tasted like dragon's blood. Now I'm singing in the green language with the Bassian thrush. I like my honey guide sunny side up.
Blithe spirits, desire in its clearness. I'm fearless of the fire as I near it. The lover's breath as the wind, the lovely flock. The Oiseau text as the fen or muddy bog. To correct the red pen someone draws with. The Googleplex to represent the unconscious. Out cold as that sheet of watery glass. Free jazz asleep on 3 Zans. Popular players rehearsing a live tape. Follow him where the free birds all migrate. Their alterity turning on a dime in a wave. Sans serif, these words upon my gravestone, bearing the withered flower tossed, the Baudelarian inner albatross, the human soul stuck in your body, fluent in post-structural ornithology. His words draw you a map of the geographer, perched upon a branch in the binoculars. This scholar of math as it pertains to flight, the neurographer mapping the brain with light, translating his track into shapes of a type. His font strange as the past containing Christ, the first Satanist to fold in non-belief. The birdcage's golden geometry, the flirtatious poet involved with the trees on Earth Day with a boner for rocks and the sea in purple darkness, the flight of birds, the perfect targets for snipers, erect with the bird calls propagandizing to prevent another Hitchcock uprising, caged as the chicken flock fuck flying, as failures who did a lot of drunk driving. That's fake news, it's the cops who were drunk driving. Radiant goo in the water, the government lying, splayed anew in a posture of undying, open transparency. As the dusty glass, as the cloudy water, this air thick with fog.
Final take. Word.
Words from the birds clutching branches. With words I dances as Costner, actor, imposter, blacker by the line. This word doc, my eye wide to the bird dropping as my worms flopping, flapping my featherless limbs. Effort unfeckened as wind. Oda be a dodo be Raphis cuculatus, extinct in the blink of a pink-eyed mallard. Mary melon, conjunction of irises, dueling lingo, flamingo, irises, pie-like pink and motionless. In the ocean is pylons, permanently marking his Krylon canisters, applied swift as Smith, sliding down banisters. 2 canisters, loop the fruit looping is Samuel Britannica, mascot royal, eastern cottage, the art of torture, the crime of fraudage, the scalding, scolding, to be dressed down, to undress, to molest, punching the crown, to stretch the gown, to tear, to bare flesh, to drown a bird. Words cut painlessly, his shooter sprays aimlessly, winging doves, shoving his hands in his purse to disperse bird seed through.
Subjecting his verse to a read-through. In French he referred to le hibou, an owl, alternately an emu. This beak and talons that eat you, infinity gallons of sea brew, as beef stew, oceanic, his bleak view, the cosmos, an exploding thought process. Fish eat fish, the ocean apologists. Pretty pissed this throne rock a comet, as we lift off the robot rocket, soaring as the cardinal's red wings. Words red as my tongue, pecking things, preferring West Side Gun to depression sting, perfecting his rhymes and cunning nesting. These simple truths unwhispered I window to the prisoners, reflections of slain waxwings. I'm still alive, thanks for asking. Dwelling in the beat as a running river's fish, I held in my beak the struggling insect, my plumage brighter than Schrödinger, reviewing the writer and knowing her. Don't laugh when I light as the oriole, upon the branch of cognition arboreal, relent as the cat beneath the tree, the claws retracted invisibly, deleting the madcap wizardry. He tweets as the black-capped chickadee. Devoted to his avian song and dance, to their proletarian consonants, the man and absurd Brewster McCloud, the poet swerving through these vowels, cutting through the current, swooping down, muttering his ers, oohs, and ows, pronounced as this earth a blue sound, uploading his birds into the cloud. In the pale blue he co-founds the post-pound ghost town, this wasteland of modernism, replacing man, his god a woman, a strong image, his drake dance, making a splash in the pond he lives in. The frog ribbit him lazily upon the pad, his fate planned was the composition. La 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 la. Rotting as pop in his coffin, this postmodern, his product was all surface. I wanted to be thought of as an alternative to walking on water on a scholarship. This homebound boat found afloat on the sound, the post-pound ghost town, lowbrow, his Marxist reading of Peanuts, Jesus. The start of his speech was really nuts. The odds you'd exist were 1 in infinity. But don't take life so seriously. At the end of the night, it's only a credit system. As I remember it, whites owned the television. Peripatetic, the microphone elephant, walking his filibuster, impenitent, sovereign, this will instructing the elements, the god they killed in a bloody rebellion. Probabilistic, the color that settles in the flower's petals. In quantum quantum physics, washing dishes, the sound of metal, round as a bell in the watery liquid. Softly he whispers this counterspell, as loudly you yell your polished limericks, a blog unwritten, this howl from hell, a fountainous well, his thought in fission, fraught with suspicion, clouds of Marvell, as Andrew Marvell, he calls to his women, let's all go swimmin', mademoiselles, black as Chappelle with comical precision, but with all women, laughing unquelled, in raps he dwells, as balls for the kicking, beaten as an effigy for the patriarchy, reading an exegesis their slave economy, so connected in joint behavior as clothed in the threads of exploited labor. Red roses represent the toy makers in the caramel center of the foil paper. Feel the slaver's whip as it strikes autonomy, the rage within Hegel's white sophistry, as the tape begins to get quite lofty, condemning a fake intellectual psychology, should they be not to the left, but to the right of Chomsky. This key to the cage's opening, his meter, the way the crow thinks, deep-seated, the raven's croaking, asleep on the page, the poet's ink, this apex agleam as the diamond, the great crested grebe, fly with him, this aesthete be among the hyacinths, correcting the priests and the scientists, the kiwi dreaming amid the day, the sheep and people in interplay, his speech unreadable since the egg, to Steve or Theodore, Tim or Greg, whatever his name was, the vulture whose feathery display was out of this world, deadly this invasion of colorful birds, his message containing two lovers, undisturbed by Livy, his lessons, the hummingbird high tipsy against the welkin, one is first, infinity second, above the church this mystery beckons.
Yeah. It's everywhere. Mbaruk, rich like a Rockefeller, storing monetary up in the wisdom cellar, building ship propellers to fly like Jays of Stellars. The Crow King with pen owns afterlife like Zen via ink splat, spilling on the page. Heavy as it slept, but I could see the animation. Shalaka maracas, yahaha, you found me. Expansion of our spirits, watch the glow so astounding. Vision breeding, then migrating, like a red-breasted merganser, hydroplaning. A mantipus, black neck stilt, walking tall above it all with a black cat bill. Broccoli, I don't breathe to be still when I leave. I don't need to be killed, just wanna be here for the thrill. What I need is that 700 fill. Mad Mallard down jacket with a pocket full of goat cheese. Y'all thought I'd say pill, clear I do what I please. Rat king, smack king, splat rats with a bold beam. Footfall, fairly heavy, strike ball wound, aiming at the goalie. Listen, pygmy nuthatch with a satchel full of gold things. Dark-eyed junco, marijuana till we're choking. Hooded warbler, stuttered song cause we're stoking all our energy up to show in your dreams.
From reptiles to gods of the firmament, projectile vomiting nourishment, to the neophytes nidicolous. You'll be alright if I tickle the itch, the peck of my pruning, the Oiseau text, the mind preening, her many song control centers, birds getting along with no effort. To the many mixed species flocks, eagles and hawks in the clear blue, As critics navigate an olfactory map, the pigeon's glad relation to gravity lacks, so the poet conserving his repertoire. The bird's repertoire of call notes, flight songs, and letters his art solid gold to those important bird areas efferent, dispatching archaic birds scarily relevant to the flightless and to the polygamous, to the monogamous, true to the cigarettes, to those guilty of nest appropriation, to those nocturnal, and to our day friends, hovering empty of meaning subatomically. The drunken friendly demon of Ottawa speaks to those residential or in migratory restlessness, too adept to tell of those rhyming forms to rebel against, homing toward God and believing, the poet bird hawking as Stephen, the goats heard in matched counter-singing, so the poet bird rapped how the ink thinks, in your stud book forever as human bows this library decked in plumes pelagic, the seaside bird in high melanin, these weird rhymes worth a dime or seven, post 9/11 his cautious nest building in the tallest metal building, as down to earthly forms of presentation, to begin in the mid-story this vegetation, their knowledge of star patterns shocks the world as you watch his art with compact binoculars. Clad in darkness, his mouth blue and pale, the fentanihilist, razzing the Marxists in pulchritude to name the ascetic hedonist, bringing leprosy back to make over the tragic Berryman. In blackface, a tragic Yeats, the last gasp of white power in black pants, a pantology of phrenology in the mesmerism of drapetomania, as Travis Scott free of dead bodies on the television at the Drake show delayed as he fucks the college graduate exempt from death in art, the propagandist unkempt in the webinar, projecting Machiavellian unctuous in urgency, the wish to quash those blackberry men, those pervicacious restroom egalitarians, the quadruple vaccinated infidels, to pimp the tragic incels, to resurrect the dodo, the picturesque, the sky-downy purse with tufts of liard, space made magnific again as time deconstructs the infrastructure, as the hawk stays aloft making off with prey, these ospreys in God's way, Yahweh, you smell this passage as the bird, to tell what happened in the verse. The bird's father chose romantic words or the modern post, crows and blackbirds or the fallen snow, post-traumatic these ornithological. When we were in Africa as kingfishers, the seabird massacre stink lingers, gunfire and everywhere gull feathers. The teddy bear snout severed, opposing these slow waves rocking the boat. To your prosaic possible, as proper souls watch cops control the novel, the long poem ontological on the road, connoting fallen trees and dead leaves. Behold the long-forgotten beat legacy, as God dreaming the euthanized preacher. Watch as his meaning occludes my eureka, my breakthrough in literature still deferred. I wake to the twitter of city birds, divine as Satan to deliver his sinful verse, a sly snake whose slither thrills the world, the white moon a sliver of winter served, as haiku to the letters of Middle Earth, his fantastic epic a tea bag set aside, raps eclectic the DJ getting high, scratching records the free play of letters and signs, flapping feathers and sea spray the text in his mind. Flapping feathers, the text in his mind, and sea spray. Envy the nightingale's illegal migration, pecked with icy hail as we invite Satan. Words blown by chance through the Vancouver streets, birds sewn by chance into the tapestry, aleatory the pages of his story, straying from glory into strange territory, splat on the pavement, that's how you land in the imagination, a Cloudcuckooland, rap without agency, the sound of toucans, the back payment Andrew demands. hands. His idiocy distilled in his genius, written with the quill of a phoenix. The speckled self protected with a spell like something metal and electric. The effect of elves on his mental health encompassing the central and eccentric. As I take into me the minds of simple fools, I make believe that I'm a swimming pool, while slaves agree to white ridicule. On amphetamines like the critic cool, the red he sees like the livid bull. Heard birds speak Greek like Virginia Woolf. Hoti kalon filon ai. Watch even the lofty swan dive. This urban maze as my artistry, as the bird surveys our cartography. This arrow aimed at your heart center, the pits of cherries he ate for darker feathers, tips of your hairs raised in startled terror. This lift and staircase in the market center, as pigeons interrogate this architecture. I gaze into the dark forever. Carnal pleasures, a zesty astrologer, zoological in their harnesses of leather, inarticulate textures zonked on bright absinthe, the synthetic light of their star dissembler, the mockingbird caged for 433, the John in her place forlorn as Sir Keats, the mobs burning rage before his wordy speech, the conifers aflame the warlord's defeat. As in the tender night without fail, the nightingale. Unidentified. Oiseau text. What is a mockingbird anyway? When really you watch the bird levitate, opening the latch to enter his fate. Who's to say what's a crow, the predator prey? These wizards uncertain of how to define these brown-chested martins perched on a power line. Purple patches the poetry pornographic, only in that it boasts a sea of florid passages. Was that a true Bahama wood star? Over the heads of blue cops their crooked art. His critique of Eminem wasn't so empty, teeming with elegance under Western speech. With wings extended the Oiseau text flees, the drink embellished with drugs such as ecstasy, the full and feathery flapping family near, resisting signification these randomly weird. It could have been ecstasy in my blackberry beer, but I thought I saw golden eagles in the stratosphere. You motherfuckers need a human this creative, another of evolution's mutations, a tongue tasting the surface of your mind, someone to make the bird undefined, 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 undefined. Finches hit me up with the flap, flap, flap of the golden horde. Hit arm to record as I pour molten sass on the mic with a rhyming bow. Like Launchpad McQuack, let's have a conversation. We can talk about something like ovum, not at all like ovals, but you know, like all birds are metazoan. Just imagine like chickadee all slimy like a parazoa, cells all hanging loose without a spinal cord. Birds are tiny, weird little dinosaurs. True. The seagulls at the pier chilling down on the beach road. Larry Bird sure could hit a free throw. True. I'm smoking all that kush on my green robe. Thank God on the phone that I wasn't born a chicken. Republic of the chicken wing, it's people drunk with power. I listen to the grackles all day. Same. I wish that there were magpies in New Brunswick. Same. I'm a dark-eyed jungle, black eyes and a frown like a dirty knife sitting in a puddle
fall on the ground. I am the terror that flaps in the night. Cold weather rapper fighting Voltron. I'm feeding them birds something tasty at the fair. Dinner from my cannon, finger seeds in the air. Can you prove that birds exist? Can you prove to me that birds exist? No.
Lucifer, hummingbird, hungry for the blood of a flower in a desert. Penstemon redder with nectar than ever. I've got agave on my sweater. A bird dies whenever if you don't pull that lever. At the service, bury the elderberry. Pokeweed together with binoculars raised, hiding in the shrubbery. I to the rubbery, I could never get enough of these green heron, night heron, blue heron rookeries. So I sit real still, and then they get real used to me. I keep a respectable distance, so no one starts to swoop at me. We're flapping wings, we're rapping things ornithological. Seabird nautical, three little birds seem prodigal. Robert nesting in a bush somewhere tropical. Enjoying the wildlife all the while, that's why we're walking slow. Orchard orioles, the warblers in the boreal. If you're on the porch and you see some species that you wanna know, it's important to dress up as a scarecrow for the U.F.Os. I read some books and put some bird calls on the stereo. A red-eyed vireo's appearance is not very comparable to a purple gallinule whose diet is highly variable. Screech owls can sound like aliens and cause hysteria. Clearing camping areas to learn your voices like Hank Azaria. We're singing arias from turkey vulture operas. Big ear, big birds, big bird bibliographer. 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 Big ear, big birds, big bird bibliographer.
As birds of prey, so the concept of the song.
And infinity.
Verbal display, the context Hong Kong.
Specificity.
The current drakes were sophists for the strongest men. Servants maintaining their pockets of the problem. If we read God's desire in who survives the natural selection of rhyme's bluest jive, should this be true, he preferred Cain to Abel. His surname a flame in Hebrew flowery, the sea blue and cloudy, bird brain the label, bird brain the flag, he flew proudly. The genius they read as meta-primitive, between dyslexic and illiterate, his warped view of sound with an eye, to bore through the mountain in rhyme. This performer who bowed as the pines, soaring through the clouds of your mind, an eagle streaming entangled with time, to be the freedom to prey over tiny things, to find the eagle's wings so still in steady motion, a poet skilled so we accept where he's going, over the tree tips and rooftops, the Oiseau text, as the music box on the poet's desk, the fluid jottings of his golden pen, a cursive thread. An old friend disturbing the bed, the eagle equal as all words in his head, or the super eagle his thought controlled instead. Yeah. The idea of Oiseau textual, the flying medium unforgettable, the pigeon ascending from the sidewalk, so the poet on entering the sky of his thought. The rhyme and meter of Oiseau textual, the wine and reefer he smuggled, as you know, so the memoir of a high school drug dealer, immortalized in my cool, unreadable verses. The style and meaning of Oiseau textual, combined ingredients of Oiseau textual. Oiseau textual. Oiseau textual. Oiseau textual. Is surreality a form of terrorism, inverting gravity, deforming their existence, and joining the dinosaur poets? these schizoid lines for the homeless, as enjoining the landlord's soulless state compatible this bland form of protest. This casual line fishing, a game fashionable as quiet quitting, joined by the elbows in tribalism, conjoined via Velcro their final mission, reflecting the household with Stein's precision. Defining persistence, too real to wrap in a subjunctive tense, in outward black till the 1%, vomit it back with love and respect, the labor congealed in his bloody gems, exiled among fact but still one of them, blind to the trap as it smothered him. The black shroud, it inhabits me, black and proud of these ancestries, branching as tendrils, the family, the branches descending under gravity's law. Gravity's law. Deliberate, the coyote, his poetry, rising lonely, a toast to me. In silliness, divine strophes, his ode to me. Forgiveness flies lowly as the ocean beneath. Southward, these flippers and breathing tube, wiggling his toes, these pins and needles anew. His feet asleep as his date plays the oboe, reading in Greek NRK anal logos, free to believe it when they say there's no ghost below. Hey there, yo, toying with my kindly umbrella words. From noisy this arise Chinese metaphors. Your pointing tip a high-rise in Seattle, sir. The pointlessness nine lively as the cats were. I'm an answer to the crow's black question. The janitor using coke as his medicine. Corvids in the clouds aloft, more bitter than proud of God. As we ponder the nature of the text, these scholars of nature's subsets, with the wizard's command of her elements, this invisible man as Sir Ellison, shifting to fashion words as weapons, his propaganda sure to get him assassinated, listing the 1%, this unkempt critic of the government, riding the bus to his servitude, trying to undo the words he used. His yelling involved the meta-text, swelling as the robin's red breast, his ego gravid with communism, reading the past with binocular vision, repeating the past with on-the-dot precision, a street so black it's non-existent. Zigzagging graffiti, insane beliefs he delivered as freight under secrecy, in the rain sneezy upon the window pane sleepy, drip paintings easy. His aesthetic manifesto, his defense of the rap cento, form central, oriental the hookah, these pleasures human unconnected with the glue gun, KG the zoo we run, these cryptic as the fluid drunkenly dripping its beads of interest, misreading the Iliad, these jottings of the big pen, to God non-existent. The savage beginner, unmoved by the scary quantum madness within her confused fairy god's abstraction, a river refused as barely awesome, gravid to Twitter among Vancouver's cherry blossoms, his belief in his fate in the horoscope, Aquarian, in invertebrates as the corals, Diana pulling the waves ashore and aglow. My grandma couldn't be ahistorical. His classes asking whence this exploitation, in satisfaction as the noise complainant. In his long silence, methodological, nodding his mind to the tempo the clock shows. The dog surviving on bread and water in a bowl, not by violence assembling his model boat. Enter the materialist, involving his rhymes in this clever and weirdness, belonging at home in a nation unloving as punishment. A pawn in the game, to the constable waving his bludgeon for the government. Caught in this frame, writing poems, despite the road sticky with the right-wing pro-life and proliferous. As tentacles snatching the fact away, this sentinel with the battle axe raised. The censored poem wrapped in plastic and tape, this letter O in his actual blackface, pronouncing those O's in hobo clothes, espoused as the Roman nose so many photos show, espousing this white-hot anathema. Their pop culture is white propaganda without exceptions. Their pop culture is white propaganda. Exceptions. Their pop culture is white propaganda. The text, an unstable statement, as yet unable to work in Ableton, setting the table and serving you Raymond Chandler's narration printed on burnt fragments, this paper in the wind's descent, as Earth's aliens, self-destructive as the message we're awaiting, red and feministic, the third wave in him, cracking the leather whip of purgation, flaccid as her withered geranium, ejecting the work to turn the tape again, this red shirt with purple shapes sewn in, sentient, this simple workstation, projecting words out of where the tape goes in, that Radiohead, in reverse as the Platos spin. These spinning Platos, these spinning Platos, these spinning Platos, these spinning Platos, these spinning Platos. God's hand within me, as the puppeteer, this taut black skin, these red bloody tears, a comrade's grin reflected unclearly in the polished glass, shimmery as the sun's sphere's heat, forever arrested in non-compliance, the desert outstretched as the yawning giant, letting the red get caught in the shine of him. Apollo travels, spreading the sciences, the froth in his glass, as vaginas in the autumn path. Leaves are dying, it's a solemn task. We are trying. The trial of poetry. Literature lit as the joint when I smoke cannabis, pricked by the point of his stone faceted. This glint in the void glows as amethysts, quickly scribbled his boisterous ballads, so intimate with Freud, with no analysis, vociferous employment of parataxis. This passage delivered for the joy of it. The koi fish swimming in the blackness, in praxis just killing until Troy desists. This soy milk delicious to the capitalist, regardless of how quickly hewn the passage is. It's strictly you who fashions this. A critical view of Vancouver from his cloud's eye view of these ants religious. flowing thought as time unfolding its eroding rocks and rising roses. The stem of a rose, his body trembling. Frosty, his breath in the wind. The spoon that fed him his medicine. Ingest this authentic intelligence to your AI rhyming robotically. The robot did my whole job for me, thrown out of my poet's sophistry, loitering outside his old property. A prophet as Timon of Athens was, his Gnostic science de anima, lost in the fires of Alexandria. Call all the spiraling galaxies dust, eulogizing a soldier and comrade. Droopy rhymes in a folder he dropped in the bath. The freedom to walk with a black mind, believing in God as in that which lies beneath the rock's id unanalyzed. Even the pauper picking dandelions could be tied as Eminem to rap, should we survive to erect cenotaphs. A sign of the time of things, as his falling gray hair, and fiery shining, yellow caution tape in the air, apply denialism as to the Watergate affair, or to skydiving as the holiday dare. Yellow caution tape in the air. Oiseau textual. Oiseau textual. The Flying Rap Album. Oiseau textual.